You are watching the Midtable Up Podcast highlights. Please put your foot through the like button and subscribe to the channel. Make sure to follow us on our social media and on Spotify and the podcasts app.
This is the only World Cup winner on my list, Paul Pogba.
Oh, I love it. So, I mean, I can 100% see where you're coming from. So, please elaborate.
So, I think, again, you look at a player who at Juventus looked absolutely unplayable. He was box to box, he was powerful, he ran with the ball, he scored goals from all over the place. But he clearly has an attitude problem. You look at his time at Man United, as soon as things are not going his way, he's throwing his toys out the pram, he's blaming the manager, he's blaming his teammates, he's not wanting to train. And for a player so you talk about a player who's £90 million worth of footballer, meant to take United to that next level, get them close to the levels of City and Liverpool at the era that they were kind of pulling away and hitting record points totals. He was meant to get them, raise them to that level. And he just hasn't. He's got nowhere near. And now he's at the point of his Man United career. And I know we talked about it when we talked about Paul Scholes last week. When he's behind Fred and McTominay in the pecking order of Man United midfield players. How can a player who's £90 million end up behind two good players, but they're nothing more than that? Let's not overhype them. They've got... Yeah,
they're decent.
They've got a good...
They're
but
decent.
what they have got, which Paul Pogba doesn't have, is a work ethic and an attitude that makes them dependable. And you know that they're going to deliver for you week after week because even if they don't play well, they're going to try hard enough and get maybe 6, 7 out of 10 every game. Whereas Paul Pogba might get you a 10 out of 10 once every 3 months, but the rest of the time he'll be a 4 and he won't give you anything. And for a player, and you talked about Mesut Ozil having this problem, it's all well and good just having an impact against lower league sides and looking quite good against those kind of games. But the games where it really matters, it really counted, particularly at United, less so at Juventus, apart from that, because he did do a lot of good things for Juventus and for France. But again, he doesn't seem to want it at United. And again, if he got the move to Real Madrid, maybe we'd see the old Paul Pogba again. Maybe he would look like he wanted it again. But right now, I find him so infuriating because his talent is there, but he doesn't show it on the basis that he needs to, and his potential dictates that he should do.
Yeah, he's one of the players I would say from I get on to Manchester United fans for ruining players because I think they do, along with Arsenal. But they one of the things I see so much with Paul is that a lot of even United fans won't defend him because he's undefended. Because anyone can accept maybe a player's crap or this or that, but it's so obvious that he just doesn't give a shit.
To be fair to Paul Pogba, he's suffering from Real Madrid-itis right now, and that is a very tough thing to get over, Yeah. But no, to be fair, I kind of completely agree with everything you said. I think the ability is absolutely there, and you look at, for me, like what he did for France in the World Cup in 2018. Yeah. It was just outstanding. He was the complete midfielder in that tournament. But that's the levels he should be at
every game. And that
is the issue. We very rarely see it for Manchester United, and when we do, more often than not, it's against the smaller clubs. The only real big game I can think of him affecting was when Manchester United came from 2-0 down to beat City 3-2 that year. They got 100 points, and even then, the title was dead by that point anyway. It just stopped them from winning the title a week earlier. That was really about it. That's the only real time in a big game I can really remember Paul Pogba really having an impact for Manchester United. And I think he scored 2 goals in that game.
Just an attitude thing. Do you think he cares?
Not about Man United.
No, not about Man United at all. To be fair, I always found this one a little bit weird, and I know it's a bit different, but they do say never go back. And obviously, different manager, different time. He was a lot younger and whatever. But I've always kind of found the move a little bit weird because obviously Manchester United were in decline when they bought him. And I know you could maybe argue that he felt that he was good enough to turn things around there. But I always kind of feel like he's never really wanted to be there. Again, I don't know whether he just went back because, Real Madrid weren't coming in for him at the time or whatever else. And obviously now he really doesn't look like he wants to be there at all. And, but at the same time, I would say he hasn't justified a move to a bigger club or I say to a bigger club. Manchester United are arguably the biggest club in the world, but he hasn't really justified that move to Real Madrid because he's just not been performing regularly enough
and I think
for Manchester
you see that,
United.
Don't you, now that the move to Madrid seems to have cooled, doesn't it? I don't hear the same
completely.
transfer rumours about Paul Pogba.
They don't need another fouled Galactico, do they, Real Madrid? They've had enough of those players that have,
They've got a club of them.
Superstars. But yeah,
you can make 11.
Mate, yeah. You could. We could do our biggest, top 10 Galacticos or our biggest fouled Galacticos.
The biggest transfer flops would be a good list.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But Real Madrid could get its own list because there are so many big name flops there. But yeah, I completely agree. I 100% get where you're coming from with Pogba because obviously, as you said, he's won a World Cup. He was fantastic for Juventus. But a little part of me, even from day one, I've always kind of felt, why did you come back? I know Fergie wasn't there anymore and he left because they decided to play like Phil Jones and Raphael in midfield ahead of him, which fair enough. I can get why you'd leave after that, but I don't really know if he really had anything to prove by coming back to Manchester United anyway.
Do you know what
Probably
it is?
A lot.
One thing, George. Money.
The money?
He doesn't, and that's why, George, we all have jobs, right? And sometimes you work a job that, you go, I can't be asked, and you hate it. But why do you go there every day? It's because of money. And why does he go every day? Because of money. He gets paid. But I mean, he was on a fair whack at Juventus as well. It's like it wasn't like he's on more by moving back to Man United than he was on at Juventus. It probably was a bit more, but it wouldn't be like. It's not like he wasn't at life-changing money at Juventus. No, of course not. Of course not. And I'm not saying it was all fueled, but I still think definitely
possibly though that Manchester United would give him an extra 100k than what he was on already though, which is still
it's still money. And the other thing is, I think he might have gone there with good intentions and wanted to build the team up and bring back the old United and all that shit. But I think it's very quickly gone the wrong way with both, and his performance has reflected that. Consistently he's running the least on the field. Consistently he's not playing as a team. I think he's very concerned with Pogba the player. I honestly don't think he's concerned about Manchester United.
No, I agree. As I said, it kind of harps back to that point I was making where I feel like even from day one, I feel like he's never really wanted to be there. And I think that's the reason why we don't see the him that plays for France often enough for Manchester United, because I feel like he wants to play for France, but I don't think he wants to play for Manchester United, and I don't think he has for a long time.
I would describe him as being very typically French. Like, when he can be bothered, he's fantastic. But quite a lot of the time, he just can't be bothered. And he looks like he's just there to fill up the numbers, and that's kind of enough for him. So anyway, that's why it's in my list.
Yeah. That's the final whistle. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Midtable Up Podcast. If you enjoy our top 10 lists, please make sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. Let us know what you would have done differently. If you watch this episode on YouTube, make sure to put your foot through that subscribe button and leave a like on the video, as well as follow us on Spotify and the Podcasts app to keep up to date with the series. Thank you very much. See you next time.